10th round. 9 minutes remaining in this excellent battle for the IBF's Intercontinental Super Featherweight crown. The stripes of Dean Phillips. Glenn's scorecard with Phillips a couple of points ahead. Interesting to hear Steve Foster thought his mate was just leading by a round. Ooh, good shots again from Judson.
Yes, he looks the fresher of the two, Ian, at this point. He's starting to mix his shots up a little bit. It looks like he's still, he's still very alert. He's still thinking about his punches.
Very important for Phillips now that he keeps up to his work. He doesn't fade, and he does fade as he's caught by that right hand. Down he goes. There's a left and then a right hand. He's up, is he, at 8, nearly 9. Dave Parris got to 9. Can Judson finish it here? Phillips is tiring. Can his head clear? Can Judson find another punch? The man who's only stopped one opponent has got Phillips going here, and he might be on the verge of a very famous win. Peter Judson. Phillips is in desperate trouble. And look at him come back. Well, isn't that just typical of this fight? If Peter Judson really had a concussive punch, I think he would have won it in this round by now.
But Phillips is going to have to work very hard to hang in there. He's been hurt, and I think he's just fighting off instinct at this point. He's got to try and clear his head, but I'm sure Judson's not going to let him do that.
Big right hand. Dave Parris taking a very close look. Now the right uppercut. Judson is on the very verge of victory, and he's won it. Peter Judson scores by far the biggest win of his career. The journeyman fighter lifts the IBF's Intercontinental Super Featherweight title in pretty sensational fashion in the 10th round, and scores only the second stoppage win of a 7-year career. Amazing stuff.
Absolutely. That was the question. Was Phillips going to wilt? It was so hard for him. He just had the more experienced Judson at the end. It was a tremendous fight from both men, and I think we've got to applaud both men. What a tremendous fight.
Well, Judson, his durability got him through some awkward moments early on when Phillips was so sharp, but then in the 10th round, with Judson coming back strongly, this is what happened.
The referee just hovering in there, looking for how good Phillips is. If he's still there, he threw a shot back, but then there's nothing coming back, and the referee thought it was time to jump in. He took a lot of punches in that round.
Here's the knockdown that Judson scored that started all the trouble for Phillips.
The left hook, the right hand. He was just, we said at the beginning of the round, he was just putting his punches together. Look, the fresher of the two at this stage, and he puts that combination together so well. And this is a man who can't punch. He just totally wore Phillips down.
Well, they said he couldn't punch anyway. Well, his loved ones are there as well to share in the moment. It's a great moment, this, for Peter Judson. He's lost his last 3 fights. He wasn't really fancied to win this one, and for a long time there it looked as if, for all his resilience and durability, he would probably be on the wrong end of a points decision, but he just hung on in there. He was so strong, and he finished very, very well, and he found the punches. And Phillips, meanwhile, as they're helping him back to his corner, appears to have collapsed. Phillips has collapsed. Oh, now, goodness me. Oh, dear. Well, Dean Phillips is in a bad way in that ring at the moment. He was being taken back to the corner and suddenly collapsed. And these are worrying scenes. The doctor is in there with him, and, well, that was alarming, Glenn.
It certainly was. His legs just betrayed him. He was wobbling a little bit when both fighters were towing each other, and then he's gone to walk back to his corner, and the legs have just given way, and he's just sort of tumbled into the ground, and the scenes look quite disturbing.
Well, There's a silence fallen all around the ring. His sisters are there and his family's here, and of course his own trainer is his father Des, who's in there, and these are very, very worrying moments for all concerned here, because Phillips, after that very hard fight, suddenly just collapsed into the corner. And I'm just looking at the moment, his eyes are closed and he's being damped down with wet cloths at the moment. There's no sign of any oxygen treatment or anything like that. Paramedics are on standby, as they are at all boxing promotions in this country, and we must hope that these are simply the effects of exhaustion and a long, hard fight. And Peter Judson himself, well, his moment of glory has been soured, understandably. His only concern, and the concern of all of us at the moment, is for Dean Phillips. Phillips's fiancée Jodie is here as well, and just look at the faces of those fans. We've been through these horrible kind of scenes a few times, unfortunately, and you do fear the worst. You hope for the best, but you fear the worst.
Yes, you do. But it was a fight. They were obviously both greatly exhausted. They'd worked so hard. There'd hardly been a clinch in the fight. Non-stop work, and it's obviously taken an awful lot out of Dean Phillips, and he did just seem to collapse from exhaustion, and you hope it's nothing to do with the punches.
Well, he is now conscious. I'm very, very relieved to tell you. They'll have to keep a very, very close watch on him. But sometimes in these championship fights at the lower weights, where fighters have worked so long and hard, there's the effects of dehydration. And, well, I'm very, very relieved to tell you that Dean Phillips at the moment appears to be okay. Thank goodness for that.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 2 minutes and 7 seconds of the 10th round, the referee has stopped the contest. The winner and new IBF Intercontinental Super Featherweight Champion, Peter Judson.
It's a great night for Peter Judson.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I'm really, really pleased to say that Dean Phillips is sitting up in the corner now and is conscious again.
He's been talking. They were asking him, was he all right, and he was nodding his head. So let's hope he's okay. And still a wonderful performance from Peter Judson.
Great relief around this arena at Phillips's recovery.
And I'm sure even in his hour of triumph, Peter Judson will share in the relief for his opponent. These are the sorts of men who put themselves on the line in every sense, and by no means for exorbitant financial rewards, but their dedication really does push them to the limits.